Joining me now is President of the National Border Patrol Council, Brandon Judd. Great to see you, Brandon. So what can you tell us about the preparations to follow through on President Trump's order?
If you look at it, what we're doing is we're targeting those individuals that have already had their day in court. They've already had their opportunity to present their case. They were not found to have a true refugee status or a reason to be in the United States. They were ordered deported by a judge, and frankly, they haven't left. So they're defying the law. They defied the law in the first place by crossing the border illegally. Now they're defying the law by ignoring a judge's order that says that they don't have a right to be here to be deported. So these individuals have already had that chance to exhaust all of their appeals rights, and they still continue to push back and ignore the laws of the United States. This is an operation that has to happen, and to hear mayors like that out of Chicago saying that they're going to protect their refugees and their immigrants, these are no longer refugees. They're now illegally in the United States, and they should be deported.
Well, you talk about the law. It is ironic that some of the lawmakers are the ones that are defying the laws that are in existence and not helping. Is there any way they could obstruct this border process that you're trying to enforce right now?
No, absolutely, and that's something that the United States Attorney's Office needs to take a look at. If mayors around the country in these particular cities, if they're going to give potential criminals heads-ups on when ICE is going to be there, when they're coming, and they help these individuals abscond from authorities, yes, they absolutely could be held responsible and, frankly, violating the law, and they should be gone after.
Well, and thankfully, some people, including that judge in Massachusetts who let illegals that the ICE were after out her back door are now being prosecuted. We'll see what happens there. What about these getaways? 100,000 getaways since the beginning of the year. These are the border agents, your brothers and sisters, border agents, are so busy just dealing with the migrant camps along the border that they don't have time to do their real job, and 100,000 of these people have gotten away.
Yeah, this is something that we've been warning about for years. We've been saying that the criminal cartels are using these potential refugees as pawns. They're forcing them to cross the borders between the ports of entry because they know that ties up our hands. And when it ties up our hands, it pulls our resources out of the field, and it allows the criminal cartels to cross the dangerous persons that want to make it into the United States because they know that they can't ask for refugee status. This is a very scary situation, especially knowing how many people are working their way up with these caravans that have criminal records here in the United States. They know exactly how to bypass the system because Congress refuses to act, and Congress refuses to give us the proper funding that will allow us to put more of our agents out into the field to properly secure the border.
And, of course, this endangers you folks, too. I mean, it puts you more at risk than ever before because it creates a lure for the worst of the worst to come across. Just to put a fine point on what you were saying, the DHS came out with a report. There was a caravan not long ago of 8,000 people. Of those 8,000, 660 had criminal convictions. That's a huge percent. And of those 660, by the way, 40 were guilty of assault with a deadly weapon. So these are, as the president would say, bad hombres.
These are violent criminals, and they're intent on they're intent on making their way up to our border. They're intent on crossing the border illegally to make it back into the United States. And frankly, if they've already committed those crimes here in the United States before, and they're going to defy our laws again by crossing the border illegally, the chances are they're going to come here and they're going to commit more crimes. We have to get the border under control. This is not about whether somebody is a refugee or not. This is about border security for the safety of the citizens of the United States. And frankly, again, if you look at what the President of the United States continues to say, he wants to secure the border for the safety of the American people. It's funny that he gets torn apart for doing ICE raids, the same type of ICE raids that the Obama administration did. And frankly, you didn't see the Democrats in Congress step up and say he shouldn't be doing these ICE raids. It's only because it's President Trump, and they constantly want to disparage him and show that he's a bad person, when in reality, all he's doing is acting within the laws of the United States, that they themselves passed those laws and expect our law enforcement to enforce those laws.
Very quickly, we mentioned Texas Governor Abbott. He's planning on deploying 1,000 National Guard troops to help you and your 16,000 brother and sister agents along the border. Is that going to help out? Is that enough?
It's absolutely going to help out. If he can send, if one National Guardsman can free up one Border Patrol agent, that's one more Border Patrol agent that we can have on the line protecting the border. And with 1,000, he can potentially free up 1,000 Border Patrol agents that will be out on the line protecting this country.
Well, once again, Brandon, thank you for your service and for the 16,000 of your fellow border agents. We really rely on them, and we think the best of them. Thank you very much.